Hello everyone. Welcome to Olga channel. So it's been a while. Hope you've missed me. I've missed you so much. Alright, so today going to look at a question on cost and then production put together. So that kind of question. And then with the help of God, I'll be able to explain it to the understanding of anyone who watches this video. So this is the question that you see on the screen. I'll read it. Most weeks, the demand for roses can be approximated by QD is equal to 2,400 minus 50p, where QD is the total quantity at price P. Currently, roses are supplied by 50 identical growers, each having total cost C is equal to 0.25 Q squared plus 0.5 Q plus 20, where Q is the number of roses supplied by the grower. The $20 cost can be avoided on a daily basis. A. What is the short-run supply curve for each individual grower? Describe this curve both algebraically and graphically. So with the first question, when we talk about the short-run supply curve for each individual grower. So first, you need to identify which kind of markets this firm is operating in, or which kind of market structure the question is portraying at this point. So when you read the part where the question says, currently roses are supplied by 50 identical growers, each having total cost of this. So this means that 50 identical growers is a characteristic of what? A perfect competition market. A perfect competition market. And also when you look at the demand function there represents the demand for the market, the demand for the entire market. Okay. So you see for perfect competition market, they don't determine their own demand curve. The demand curve is determined by the price in the market. It's determined by the price in the market. That's why their demand curve has been given. That's for the entire market. But you see that the cost, they said, is each one has this type of cost. You see, but then with the demand is what is the demand that is operating in the market, that will what that the firms in the perfect competition market will rely on to make other decisions. All right. So when we say what the short run supply curve for each individual grower, what does it mean? It means that in the short run, what will be the supply curve for each firm? So when we talk about supply curve, we know that based on the law of supply, when when price increases, producers are enthused to produce more. So the supply curve is positively sloped. That it moves from the left to the right upwards. Okay. So for firms in a perfect competition market, when we say what their short run supply curve is the point where the marginal curve or the marginal cost curve is either equal to or greater than the average variable cost, where the marginal cost curve is either equal to or greater than the average variable cost curve. So this is the definition for the short run supply curve for a firm in a perfect competition market. So is that the point, or is that curve that starts from the point where the marginal cost curve or is the part of the marginal cost curve that is equal to or greater than what the average variable cost. So let me draw. I want to draw. So what I'm talking about, we know that in a perfect competition market, okay, so they don't control their own the demand in the market. They can only they don't control the price. Okay, so the market determines the price that works. So it's the forces in this market, the forces of demand and supply work together to determine the price. But what the firm can do to maximize its profit is to what? Control the quantity it produces. Okay. And we know that for a perfect competition market, okay, its demand curve is parallel to the x-axis. So when I mean that, it means this demand curve is perfectly elastic. That means the price is fixed, but the quantity varies based on what the firm wants to do. So the price is fixed in the market. So this kind of curve is for only a firm in the competitive market, the perfect competition market. But then we are talking about the market supply, or the market equilibrium in a market is usually this is how it operates. So this is not what the so here is price. Okay, so here is price. So this let's say quantity will be somewhere here. So this diagram is not what the market the market equilibrium diagram that is supposed to be. This is for a firm, a particular firm in the market. But this is how the market works. The demand and then the supply, they work together to determine the equilibrium price. And there's the equilibrium price that these firms would work with. Okay, is the equilibrium price that these firms would work with to enable them know how much to produce in order to maximize their profits. Okay, so this price here is derived from the equilibrium price in the market. So in the market, this is the equilibrium price, and this is the equilibrium quantity. So a firm in this type of market derives its demand from the market. So which since the firm is a price taker, that means it takes the price that the market gives it. The firm cannot charge its own price. Why? Because in such a market, that's a perfect competition market, there is perfect or complete information. So the sellers and the buyers, they all know what is going on in the market. So if only you decide to increase your price, definitely based on the rationality of demand, the consumer will go to another or seller because they're all selling homogeneous goods. That's why the question was like 50 identical growers, which is a characteristic of a perfect competition market. So since if you can't increase the price above what is what in the market, then the price in the market will become your demand curve. That means you can only increase the quantities if you want to maximize your profit, but then you can't increase the price. So this price is derived from the market. Okay, so this is the market, and this is the firm's um this graph is for only the firm. Okay, so you see in the market we have a supply curve and we have a demand curve. So the question is asking us how do we derive the demand curve for this firm? How do we derive the demand curve for this firm? That is what the supply curve for this firm in the perfect competition market. Okay, so we know that in a perfect competition market, because the price, okay, is fixed in the market, the price is the same as the average revenue. So how do we find average revenue? We say that average revenue is equal to, so AR is equal to PQ, which is for total revenue. Okay, let me write total revenue here. So average revenue is equal to total revenue divided by Q, right? So what is total revenue? Total revenue is P times the Q divided by the Q. So in effect, this will cancel this will cancel this. So the average revenue is the same as the price for most firms in the different market structures that we have. So always the price is the same as the average revenue. So this demand curve can be termed as the average revenue curve. And then there's a distinction, or there's a special feature for a perfect competition market, such that its price is equal to its marginal revenue. Why? Because we say in this market, the firm has the ability to only charge the price in the market. So every additional product he sells, he can only charge it at the same price in the market. Okay. So if you are selling one, you are selling, you sold 10 for 5 cedis. You are come to sell an additional one for me. You have to still sell it at 5. You can't reduce or increase the price. Okay. And then if you want to sell another one to another person, you can sell it at the market price, which is the 5. So in a perfect competition market, the price is also equal to the marginal revenue. But this is not the same for the other markets, like the monopoly and the monopolistic competition. No, no, no. They have a different marginal revenue curve. Their price is not equal to the marginal revenue curve because they have the power to change their prices. Okay. But then the perfect competition market doesn't have the power to change its own price. It can only take the price of the market. So every additional product that he will sell, he can only sell it at the same price in the market. That's why its price is the same as its was marginal revenue. Okay. And also for a perfect competition market, okay. So you know that in order to before a firm will decide to produce, okay, a particular good, okay, the firm must take note of the cost he will incur, and then the profit he will earn, the revenue that you earn, the profit you earn, and the cost involved. Because you can't start a production whereas you don't know whether it's worth it of your efforts and then your money and all that. Okay, so a perfect competition market, it also has a marginal cost. So far as it produces additional product every time, it has a marginal cost. Okay, a marginal cost is kind of like a U shape, not a vivid U shape, but then it has a kind of U shape diagram. So let's say like this. Sorry. So this is the marginal cost curve. Okay. This is the marginal cost curve. So the marginal cost curve is this for every firm. That's the how it looks like. Okay. So in a perfect competition market, okay, before you, let's say you are selling goods and services. Okay. So if let's say you produce two and you are selling, if you people want more, okay, and then you want to produce additional products, okay, won't you consider the fact that that product, okay, that you are selling shouldn't be more than what you be earning? True or false? True. Because if you are the additional product you are selling is the cost that you incur for that additional product is 10 cedis, and then the market is telling you that the price in the market is 5 cedis, it means you're going to make a loss, right? And it's not logic. Okay, you're going to make a loss. So for you to be able to produce, okay, for you to be able to produce, at least your marginal cost should be the same as your price. Okay, because you said that you can't change the price. So if let's say I'm producing, the cost will be 5 cedis, okay, and then the revenue you give me back is what, 5 cedis. It's logic that I can produce at this point, okay, because um in economics, zero profit is still a profit, a normal profit. It means you have break even. You're not making a loss, you're not making a profit, but it's good to still stay in business. So you can take or you can accept something like that. Okay. So in a perfect competition market alone, we have this assumption that um your marginal cost is also equal to your price at this point. Your marginal cost is also equal to your price. Your marginal cost is also equal to the price. Okay. So we know that for every firm, if you want to maximize your profit, that's the aim of every firm that we are producing. You want to maximize profit. Okay. So if you want to maximize profit, then your profit maximizing condition will start at the point where your marginal cost is equal to your marginal revenue. Okay. So when you reach that point, you know that you've reached anything be above that or anything beyond that is going to give you a loss. Okay. Okay. So if your marginal cost is greater, is equal to your marginal revenue, then you've maximized your profit for all the firms. Okay. But for a perfect competition market, there's a condition that if your marginal cost is equal to your marginal revenue, marginal cost should be rising for your profit to be at the maximum point. Why? Because say that I extend this point, this curve here. This part is also the marginal cost is also equal to the marginal revenue, right? But now at this point, if you end here, okay, you are losing a lot because below this, okay, this one, it's a profit you could have made if you continue to produce because the marginal revenue is what above the marginal costs. Okay, so it means it's a good deal to still produce from this point. But when you reach this point, you realize that after this point, your marginal cost, okay, is greater than your marginal revenue. Okay, so at this point, your profit is what maximized. That's why we don't stand here to say your profit is maximized here, but at this point where after this point the marginal cost is what is rising. So that's the profit maximized condition for what most firms, okay, that MC should be equal to your M. At that point, the profit has been maximized. If you produce beyond that point, you're going to make what a loss for every additional unit you produce. And then since we know that in the perfect competition market alone, the marginal revenue is the same as the price, then we can put here marginal revenue is also equal to the price. So logical reason, if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C, right? So MC can say that MC is equal to what? MC is equal to price for a perfect competition market alone. Okay, so with this condition, it is with this condition that we derive our supply curve. So I said that the supply curve is the point, the part of the marginal cost curve, right? That is above or equal to your average variable cost. So average variable cost is also a U shape. Okay, so let's draw average variable cost here. So let's say this is your average variable cost curve. Okay, so they are saying that from this point upwards, okay, is the supply curve for a firm. So why using the average variable cost? You know that in a short run, a firm has a fixed input and a variable input. The fixed input, you can't vary it. It's the same thing that you use throughout the short run. But the variable input is what you can change per the output. Okay. So if let's say how should I put it? If your marginal cost, okay, is equal to your average variable cost. So average variable cost is or the cost that you incur, okay, for every one, how should I put it? Like cost per unit of output that you produce, okay? Cost per unit for output. So marginal cost is for the additional that you produce, but the average cost is just cost per unit. So every one that you produce, this is how much you are making. This the cost that you are incurring. Marginal cost, every additional one that you are producing, this is the cost you are incurring. Okay. So it's like marginal cost is also changing. Average variable cost is changing. So marginal cost changes because of the variable input. Because you can't change the fixed input, only the variable input. So the variable input that will add an additional cost to you. Okay. That's why at the point where your marginal cost is equal to your average variable cost, upwards becomes your supply curve. So why someone see that this one is above your average revenue curve. So why should this one be your supply curve? Okay. So what is the firm's aim? A firm's aim is to the supply the law of supply tells us that firms produce more when prices are what increasing. Firms produce more when prices are increasing. So we know that a firm takes its price from the market. So let's come back to our market curve here. So we said that at this point, okay, the market is in equilibrium. So this firm will take its price from this point, okay, and we've gotten this P here. So suppose in the market, demand and supply work together, and then what increases. So let's say this point, okay. So let's say the price increases to this point. Okay, and then we are tracing it to the firm. Okay, so tracing it to the firm, the firm's demand curve or the price will also what rise up. Okay, it's also increase. Okay, and we see that quantity will increase. So we see that a firm will only produce more if the price is high. Okay, and then the firm picks up its price from the market. Okay, so if let's say the market price increases, okay, the firm's price or demand curve will shift upwards, and you see that it's touching this point of the marginal cost curve. Okay, it's touching this point of the marginal cost curve. So the firm will produce here. Okay, the firm will sorry, the firm will produce here. So it's not here. The firm will produce here. So if this one also increases upwards, another price, the firm's price will also increase again. And then the firm will produce here. So you see that the points are what are on the marginal cost curve. That is why the marginal cost curve from this point upwards is what is it's the short run supply curve of the firm, because every time the price of the price in the market goes up, the firm's demand curve also go up, and then the production what stands on the marginal cost. So up that part from this point upwards become the firm's what short run supply curve. Okay, so the firm is ready to produce additional units only if the price in the market is high. So that's why it's the marginal what curve, not the average variable cost curve. No. Average variable cost is just the cost per unit. But to be able to produce additional unit, there must be an incentive. Okay. So if let's say the demand, let's say supply in the how should I put it? The demand exceeds supply in the market. Okay. If demand exceeds supply in the market, that's what will cause the price to increase, and then the firm will be enthused to produce more. Okay. So if it reaches this point again, then the firm is still producing only this point. The demand will also increase. Okay, because more people will be demanding. If more people will be demanding, the price will increase and it will go up to this point. And then since it's an incentive to the firm's demand curve will also go up. And then the firm will produce what? More. That is why the marginal cost curve, the part which is greater than or which is what above the average variable cost curve, or is the supply curve of the firm. So when you are drawing and you are being asked that the question said describe it graphically, okay. So you can have your P here, the firm's marginal cost is here, the firm's average variable cost is here, right? Then the firm's price the same as its average revenue. And then since it's a perfect competition market, its price is also the same as its marginal revenue. So every additional unit it sells, it can only get the same price in the market. And then since this marginal cost, okay, is touching the average revenue curve for the marginal revenue curve, that becomes the profit maximizing condition. Okay, and then the point where so this is the AVC, that's the average variable cost curve. Okay, so then this is your marginal cost curve. So this point above the marginal cost curve become the firm's short run supply curve. Okay. And then to find it algebraically, you see that this marginal cost curve, okay, is here. Is what cutting or is touching the average revenue or the marginal revenue. I know the profit maximizing condition is marginal cost should be equal to marginal revenue. Our supply curve doesn't have how should I put doesn't have revenue in it. It's about price and quantity. Then since this condition that we said here that marginal cost, right, marginal cost is the same as the or is equal to the marginal revenue. This is the same as the price. And you can equate MC to P. Okay. You can equate MC to P. So this is the condition that we'll be using in the perfect competition market to find its um short run supply function. So this is the diagram. Okay. So someone can add up that if the price increases, so to this point, okay. Okay, so this is our first quantity here. And if the price increases to this point, P1, our quantity also increase. So it's the quantity is not traced to the average cost curve, the average variable cost curve. No. Average variable cost curve is not about producing additional units. It's just saying that if I have this, every output I have, this is the cost that is associated with it. But it's different from the cost you incur when you are producing that additional units. Okay. Okay, so not this point, but then on the marginal cost curve. Because what will enthuse a firm to produce additional units into the market is when the price is high in the market. And as demonstrated here, we know why this price went up from the market side. Okay. So since the shortage in the market, price will increase. And when price increases, the firm increase quantity. The firm will producing at this side, and then still people will be demanding more. Okay. But for the firm to go up on the marginal cost curve, it needs an incentive. So the price in the market will increase, and then the firm's demand curve, which is the same as the price in the market, will also go up. Okay, and the firm will increase the additional units that it's producing, and then quantity will go to the right, that will increase. So this is the diagram for what the short run supply curve of firm. So you can even put this dot here to show that if the price increases, the additional product that the firm is willing to produce will increase. Okay, at each point on the marginal cost curve. We don't use this point because this point is like when you produce here, you're not going to make any, it's below the price. Okay, it's below the price, and then the firm is not willing to produce at a lower price. If you want quantity to increase in the firm in the market, then you have to what the firm has to see a high price. So if you produce here, right, you are not going to make any profits. Like you're not going to make profits. Let me put it that way. Okay, not that you don't make profit, but then you are going to lose. You are going to be on the losing end. So we start at the point where the marginal cost curve is cutting the price in the market. Okay, cutting the price in the market, then move up when the price increases. So don't, this part is not part. Okay. Yes, this part is not part. Okay. So the first condition is that MC is equal to MR. We are talking about average variable cost, average variable cost. That one also has a condition here. So we are saying that since, like I said, you can't produce at this point, okay? The firm, it's not wise for a firm to produce at this point because your average variable cost is here. Okay. So if you are producing at this point, you're going to make loss. Okay. So at the point where the average variable cost touches the marginal cost, okay, from that point upwards is what the suitable curve or the suitable place the firm can what that can produce. Okay. So this is the first condition that marginal cost should what be equal to the price for the perfect competition market. Okay, so this is what you use to find your supply function. But since we said this part is not included, you need to restrict the supply function. And how do you restrict is what when the marginal cost curve touches the minimum of the what AVC. So you need to know the minimum of the AVC so that will what will restrict the price. Okay, so if the price should be what equal to or greater than the what the average variable cost. Okay, the price should be equal to or greater than the average variable cost. Why? So I said earlier that average variable cost is the cost that you incur for a quantity that you've already produced. Okay, so cost per unit. cost per unit. Okay. So if your price that you are getting per unit in the market, okay, is lower than the cost per unit, then why are you still producing? How should I put it? So this is also termed as the shutdown point. Okay. So let me use another diagram so that this one I don't want to touch it. So let's say that, so I'll not label, but then I hope you understand. So this is your marginal cost. So let's say your average variable cost is at this point and your average cost is here. Okay. So this one is your price, okay. And your average variable cost is above your price, which is telling us that every unit you get, or every revenue you get for selling one, is less than the cost you incurred for one. Okay. Every unit, so it's like the marginal cost is not about only one, or okay, well, additional units can either be three, can be four, but the average variable cost is looking at the cost per only one. That's why the marginal cost is different from the average variable cost. Marginal cost is additional units that you are producing. It can either be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But then the average variable cost is the cost per unit of the product. Okay. The variable cost per unit of the product. So that's why I'm using average variable cost. The fixed cost, you can't vary it in the short run period. You can only vary your variable costs. Okay. So if the raw materials that you are using every day, the costs you are incurring, okay, on to the raw materials you are using to produce your goods, you can't even pay the and pay for the raw materials. Why should you still be in business? So at this, if the average variable cost is greater or is above the price, okay, we what is the point that the firm should shut down. But if it is in this condition where the average variable cost is on the price, it means that you are still making a loss because you're not making a profit, but at least you are able to cover, because the reason why I say you're making a loss is you are not able to cover your fixed cost. So look at, so this is your fixed cost, okay. The difference between average variable cost and then average cost, okay, is your average fixed cost. So yeah, though you are not able to cover your fixed cost, that will make you make a loss, but at least the raw materials you use every day, you're able to pay for it. So if you're able to work harder, okay, harder, in the long run, you'll be able to make profits to cover up your fixed cost and then earn at least normal profits. Okay, so that point where the average variable cost is touching the price, we don't shut down. Okay, but then we can say that at that point you can still be in business and produce, that you can at least push harder and make some profit and then also cover your fixed cost in the long run. Okay. So that's the reason why after you found this first condition, you need to put your mind that the condition, the price should be restricted. If your price is less than your average variable cost, it is not good to produce. So we are restricting the price to that the price should be either equal to or greater, like this curve. So you see this curve, this straight curve, which is the price. So if it is greater than or equal to this average variable cost, then you can what the supply curve can hold. Okay, so you need to find the minimum of the average variable cost, because this point is what minimum. Okay, this is the minimum, that's the least point of the what average variable cost. Okay, so first I need to find this one first, then we'll come and find this. So let's look at the cost. So how do you find marginal cost? Marginal cost is what change in total cost, all right, divided by change in what quantity. Change in total cost divided by change in quantity. So let's see the total cost they gave us in the question. They gave us this total cost, that's C is equal to 0.25 kilo squared, right? Plus 0.5 kilo plus 20. So let's copy this and then paste. I want to paste, but then I'm coming on. Okay, so I've pasted. Okay, so this is the what? The cost curve for each individual fare. Okay, the cost curve for each individual fare. So 0.25 kilo per plus 0.5 kilo plus what 20 plus 20. Okay. So if you want to find the marginal cost, okay, want to find the marginal cost is what? Change in total change in total cost. Change in total costs divided by change in what? Quantity. But here we don't have individual individual figures for total cost in the first the total cost end with employing the first unit of labor, or the total cost employing the second unit of labor. So what we can do is we differentiate. Okay, so we differentiate the cost function that we have. Okay, we differentiate the cost function that we have. So we differentiate the cost function with respect to what? Quantity. So pardon the writing then. So when we differentiate, we will have I'm coming to excuse. I want to take calculator. So when you differentiate, we have so the 2 will multiply the 0.25 and we get 0.5 kilo, right, plus 0.5. So this will be our marginal cost. This will be our marginal cost. So now we have to equate our marginal cost to the price. Okay, so our marginal cost is equal to the price. Our marginal cost is 0.5 Q plus 0.5 is equal to P. And we know that in a supply function, we have P and we have Q, right? So here we have to make Q the subject, okay? So to make Q the subject, you move 0.5 to your right, okay? So do the calculation on your own. You get Q, that has quantity supplied, is equal to 2P minus 1. Okay, we just move the 0.5 to the right side, so it become minus, then divide through by 0.5. Okay, and you work each one of them separately, so it will be P divided by 0.5 minus 0.5 over 0.5. So P over 0.5, that's 1 over 0.5 P, give you 2P minus 1. So this will become your supply care. But if you don't restrict the price, okay, to the minimum of the AVC, then the price becomes less than what's in the market. Okay, you are going to get a wrong figure. Okay, so we need to restrict it, and that's when we need to find the average variable cost, the minimum of the average variable cost. How do we find the minimum of the average variable cost? So first, we need to find what the average variable cost is. Okay, then we know that average variable cost is equal to the total cost divided by Q, right? Average variable cost equal to 0 when quantity is 0. Someone will say, why is that so? Why is that so? I don't understand. So let me demonstrate